Bantamweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, representing Fantom MMA. Please welcome to the cage, Gheorghe Moraru. And now, introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, representing Fight Academy Ireland, with a record of 1-0. Please welcome, James Wallace.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, second fight of the night. Gheorghe Moraru in the black shorts taking on James Wallace in the green shorts. James 1-0, but as you've alluded to, Joe, more experience than he looks on paper.
Exactly, he's 1-0 at the unified amateur rules, but at the junior rules, he's well versed with some stiff competition. He's had some wins, some losses, but he showed great determination throughout his whole career so far. So very interesting to see what he does here.
And that junior novice level gives fighters a fantastic grounding before they then escalate up that scale into amateur. Throws a beautiful hook there.
Yeah, it was a good check hook on the way in. That was very good from James. Both fighters stand in the middle of the cage here, trying the feeling out process.
Gheorghe trying to find the range, but right now good movement, levels, feints and fakes being thrown by Wallace. And on the takedown.
That was a great level change there by Gheorghe. Finds himself in kind of an awkward kind of half guard position here.
He has that semi-knee shield then, trying to get that hook in. May look the butterfly or sweep, but nice work to get the full guard. What's he trying to work for here, Joe?
James is just trying to change the angle a bit. I think he's looking for the arm, but he's going to struggle with his right side against the cage, so he might look to either change the angle or start looking to get back to his feet.
Yeah, you can see him trying to play with that bicep grip. We see that now more in mixed martial arts. Instead of grabbing the wrist and trying to shove it down, you see fighters now hand on the bicep trying to push down, get a little bit more leverage.
Well, grabbing by the wrist leaves you exposed to big elbows over the top. And I know we're not playing with elbows here now, but in Fight Academy Ireland, we're always teaching the pro rules. So that's why you'll see guys from Fight Academy Ireland and other gyms as well controlling the body with the bicep and not the wrist.
And you can see him just incrementally trying to shift that guard up a little bit higher each time, trying to get that angle for himself. But as you rightly pointed out, that cage is proving to be a little bit of an impediment.
What I'd like to see Gheorghe do now is maybe just posture up a bit. If he can free his arms, he might be able to get some posture and start throwing some ground and pound from that top position. He's doing a great job in here trying to control James.
There seems to be a little bit of a cut in and around the eye of Gheorghe. Not quite sure when that happened. Could have been that stiff counter hook we saw from James. But you can see James being very active off his back, trying to cut that angle. He's doing a good job of nullifying the strikes of Gheorghe here, keeping himself safe while trying to be offensive off his back.
The problem is it's hard to create the angle when his neck is cranked up against the cage. He needs to create a bit of space to allow himself to put his feet on Gheorghe's hips, and then that will make creating the angle a lot easier. But at the moment, Gheorghe's doing a great job of keeping the pressure on and not giving James any space at all to move.
As we're coming to the final 30 seconds of the round, and this is a little bit of a dilemma. Oh, trying to underhook the leg. Trying to create that angle you were talking about, Joe. But this is the dilemma within mixed martial arts. Gheorghe scored the takedown. He hasn't necessarily been offensive or proactive, whereas James off his back has probably been the more proactive fighter. So realistically, who do you give the 10 points to? Who do you give the 9 to?
It's a really difficult question, and it's kind of one of the... Oh, that was a bit of a stronger finish there from Gheorghe, but it is a difficult question to answer, because there's so much debate now about what the kind of unified set of rules and judging criteria is. I don't want to be judging that round.
And if you're in the corner of both fighters, what are you telling them going into the second round?
For James, I would be telling him to keep it on the feet. For Gheorghe, I would say same thing again, except when we're in that dominant position, posture up and look to throw some strikes from top.
You can see that little cut just...
Interesting that Gheorghe's come out in southpaw here. I'd like to see back to orthodox.
Just trying to give James different looks. Because when you switch into that southpaw stance, it does change up the entries into your takedowns and gives your opponent something to think about.
They're both actually chopping and changing between orthodox and southpaw. Maybe they're seeing some kind of weakness in their opponent's stance. So
big swing and a miss from Gheorghe. Oh, lands a huge shot into the takedown.
A big shot. Ended up deep in those hips as well.
And this is exactly where the majority of the first round played out. Let's see if Gheorghe can do, as you say, establish the position before anything else, posture and land his strikes.
Again, we're here, James looking to attack that triangle, just freeing up that. Gheorghe was on them there. He almost fainted. He baited him into that triangle attempt, and then he was able to, well.
Triangles here, potentially.
Hold on.
He switches
That
to the
arm
arm.
is tight.
Oh, he's tightened it up. Could switch to the triangle from here.
That was a ferocious scramble.
Again, needs to be aware of that triangle. Always threatening with something is James. Gheorghe being a little bit more proactive this round. He's trying to get the strikes off, as you said, but foot on the hip here from James, trying to create the angle for himself, and again pushed up against the cage here.
There is a balance to strike between aggression and safety. Gheorghe was a bit more aggressive there, but he left himself vulnerable to the attack, so he needs to be a bit careful if he's trying to pass that guard, to watch James for those triangles and arm bars, which he's aggressively attacking.
You can see Gheorghe trying to square the hips off every time James creates that angle, but he has the foot on the hip here. He's trying to shift. Overhook on the arm. More shots being thrown by Gheorghe here, but as you say, you can't overextend on those shots, because that's when the likes of the arm bars come. You put yourself in the position for the triangles. Potential for a head arm try? Nope, not quite.
Yeah, he just didn't have the position there.
30-second
mark. Gheorghe's just kind of happy to be sitting in the guard here, controlling the hips of James. He is landing short kind of wee hooks to the head from this position, but again, is that really considered damage?
Yeah.
It's being active, but we want to see damage. So interesting again to see how the judges are going to see this round.
Gone are the days of MMA where you can just take your opponent down, keep them there, and win the round.
Exactly.
We're seeing more and more fighters winning fights and winning
this
rounds.
Is more like it. Gheorghe opening up a lot at the end of the round there. That was a much better round for Gheorghe.
Was that enough to steal the round, do you think? The closing stances, 30 seconds left, throwing the flurries from top, potentially, especially in the eyes of the judges, could that be enough to steal the round? It's a takedown. James needs to be acutely aware of that, and hopefully we'll see that inform his movement here in the third and final round.
I would like to see if James starts to wrestle in this round. You know, he's been quite content to sit in the back foot and strike, but maybe he might change up his strategy a bit here and look for some wrestling himself.
Both fighters need to be proactive in this third and final round as opposed to reactive.
James in the southpaw stance for this round.
Gheorghe wearing the fight a little bit more on the face. You see he's a little bit more marked up. Oh, beautiful body head work from Gheorghe.
Great strikes.
Oh, another big shot. One thing you can say about James, he has a chin on him. Oh, another big shot.
And he's got a cut underneath his right eye there, James.
I think Gheorghe smells a little bit of blood in the water. Takedown just at the right time.
Absolutely beautiful level change there by James, but he's not out of danger yet. Gheorghe's wrapped the hands around the neck here. If he can lock that right hand up, James could be in a lot of danger, but he's just kind of escaped there. And Gheorghe finds himself on top now.
Big ground and pound being landed here by Gheorghe. Plenty of time with which to work here.
Gheorghe sitting in this half guard position, but he's quite high up in James, and yeah, it allows James to get full guard back, but Gheorghe's back up on his feet now.
Trying to swing the legs to the side and pass it. If you're Gheorghe, you've been having a lot of advantage with the stand-up, so as he's doing right now, stand off and land your strikes again.
Yep, I think he fancies himself here on the feet. James's shots looking a bit more laboured at this stage. Big cut.
Another big takedown, but and it's not necessarily a question of fitness, because as we know in mixed martial arts, when you take those big shots, it can deplete. It's almost like the likes of a computer game, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. It just drains the bar a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. And James, certainly in this round, and probably towards the tail end of the last round, took some big shots. So
yeah, and he's eating some big shots here. But credit to Wallace, he's still trying to fire back.
He's a gamer, all right.
Again, I'd like to see Gheorghe stand off a little bit. He was having a lot of success with the strikes. 30 seconds in the third and final round. Trying the capoeira style kick from his back was Wallace. And this is a little bit of a sign of fight fatigue when you see a fighter flat backing as opposed to trying to come up it towards their man, trying to close it off.
Yeah, you want to be up off your shoulders, you want to be aggressive, trying to create angles, get your feet on the hips, but we're not really seeing that much from James here at this stage, I think.
And that could be attributable to those big shots he took in the opening stanzas of that third round. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the judges' decision. 3 rounds of action, both guys leaving it all in the cage. And what a fight, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for both fighters. They put on a great show for us. And the 3 great rounds, we go to the scorecards. All the judges have it in favor of the winner by unanimous.